Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be showing you guys 14 different daily money making methods that will help you collect a consistent flow of GP every day in a short amount of time. I will also have timestamps in the description to each method, so you will be able to use that to navigate through this guide. I hope you enjoy. So starting off with the first daily money making method, we have buying feathers. Now there aren't any requirements for this method, but there are quite a few recommendations which will unlock other shops that will be selling feathers. Therefore, you will be increasing your profit with each of these recommended items. So first off, you can do this in about 8 minutes of time, and you can do it every 60 hours. You won't get any XP from it because you are just going to be buying the feathers from the shop and then selling them later. Now you can make around 1.3 mil every time you do this, so every 60 hours, which is pretty good GP per hour, especially in terms of doing it for only 8 minutes. If you do calculate that as effective profit per hour, you are making right around 9 to 10 mil GP per hour. Now there are various different shop locations that you will want to go to. I have listed this in the order of which you should be going to the shops. So first off, there is a shop in Lumbridge. There's also one in Port Sarim. Then you'll want to head to Alchemiser. This shop is in the Shanty Pass. Drainer Manor has another shop, but you must complete Animal Magnetism. The Fishing Guild requires 68 fishing. The Fremenic Province requires the Fremenic Trials quest. You'll then want to go to the shops in Etcetera, Miscellania, and then Uglog, which does require the As a First Resort quest. Also, you can go to Menethos, which requires the Jack of the Trades quest. And then, of course, Shiloh Village, which requires the Shiloh Village quest. Now, the next method I have is buying runes. Now, there are no requirements for this method either, and there are quite a few recommendations. Now again, the recommendations are just to unlock more shops, so you will be able to have a higher GP per hour or GP per instance for each of these recommended items. Now, first off, you will take about 12 minutes to complete this, and you can do it every 24 hours. Now you are making some pretty good profit from this. You're making right around 3 million coins every time you do this, and you can do it every 24 hours. Now if you were to calculate that as per GP per hour, it's effectively 15 mil per hour, so it is an excellent daily method to do. Now again, there are 11 rune shops around RuneScape which you will want to buy runes from. First off, when you do make it to these shops, some runes are profitable and some are not. Currently, you will want to avoid buying the Mind runes, the Chaos runes, the Nature runes, Law runes, and Death runes. So you will not want to buy any of those. Now again, you will want to go through this list that I have on screen. First off is the Mage of Zamorak, which does require the Abyss mini quest. Then you'll want to go to the Mage Arena, then Burthorpe, Varrock, Alchemiser if you do have the Rogue Trader quest completed. You'll then want to go to Port Sarim, the Void Knight Outpost, Yanil Magic Guild if you have 66 magic. You'll then want to go to the Lunar Island if you have Lunar Diplomacy, and note that the Lunar Island does offer the most GP, so you will definitely want to hit up this shop because it does sell soul runes. There's also Apatol if you have Monkey Madness completed, and Anachronia if you have the level 3 Town Hall upgraded. Now moving on to our next method, we have charging inert adrenaline crystals. Now the only requirement is level 93 Herblore, and recommended is the Scroll of Cleansing just to have that unlocked. Now, you will be able to get about 24k Herblore XP if you do not use the Herblore Cape, but the GP per hour is what you're going to be looking for this method, and you'll be getting this by using the Herblore Cape. So you will be able to make around 13 mil per instance, which is about 60 minutes of time if you did buy up all of the inert adrenaline crystals, and you should be able to do this every 24 hours. So the main reason why you have to wait 24 hours is because there is a buy limit on the inert adrenaline crystals. You can only buy 500 every 4 hours, and you should be able to do right around 2,000 to 2,400 of these every hour, meaning it will take you a full 24 hours to buy all of the inert adrenaline crystals. So to do this method, you will want to stock up on the inert adrenaline crystals. And when charging these inert adrenaline crystals, it will require one of them plus primal extract and a spark of chitin. So you will want to make a preset with this set up, and then of course use a portable well, and you should be able to do right around 2,300 or so per hour depending on how fast you are doing it, which will equate to right around 13 mil per hour, give or take, just depending on the profit you are getting. But as you can see right now, as of current prices, you are making about 4,700 GP every time you are charging one of these crystals, which is really awesome. And so for the next method, we have cleaning herbs. The requirement for this method is 99 herb lore for that herb lore cape. It's going to allow you to clean an insane amount of herbs per hour. For this method, you're going to be gaining right around 24k herb lore XP per hour. You don't really get much from cleaning the herbs. And as for the time for this method, you can do it for 11 minutes every 4 hours. And that is just because of the buy limit for the herbs. Of course, you could switch to another one after that 11 minutes, or you could even stockpile herbs and do them all at once. The only recommendation is lots of cash, and you will be buying and selling on the Grand Exchange, so make sure that the profit margins are there. As you can see in this table that I got from the wiki, it says the highest profit margin is the Atlantadyme, but of course check on the Grand Exchange before you buy a ton of them and clean them, because the profit margins may vary a little bit. So when doing this method, it is really important to check the prices just to make sure that the margins are there, because of course for this method you are going to be buying and selling on the Grand Exchange, and prices will always vary a little bit. So as you can see, Atlantadyme was the best on the graph in terms of profit margin, but it actually is the dwarf weed right now, just because the prices are a little bit off for the Grand Exchange. So I will be cleaning the dwarf weed. Now the first thing for this method, you will want to make sure that you set up a preset. Now the other thing with this method is that you are going to want to use your herb lore cape, and you're going to want to have it on your action bar. That way you can just activate it. So if I click R, for example, it automatically cleans all of the herbs in my inventory. So I can go in, hit the button for the preset, and basically you're just going to continually do this over and over. Now, one thing to note about the method, you aren't getting any XP if you are using the herb lore cape. You can do the method without the herb lore cape, and you will get a little bit of XP from it. But if you want to clean the most amount of herbs per hour, you will want to use this herb lore cape, and that's really the only way this method is going to be a viable moneymaker. And for the next method, we have divine locations. So right now there are 3 divine locations which are quite competitive in terms of the profit. However, this does vary as always because prices on the Grand Exchange do change. So first off, the divine tree, which can actually be done at level 7 divination. You're just going to be getting regular logs, which are priced at over 1,000 GP per log, which is quite crazy. So you can make some pretty good money off of this. You're only going to be getting around 250k at most per instance, and you will be getting a little bit of XP from it. So that is a good thing about this. Of course, it does depend on which divine location you are using, and it will only take right around 2 minutes every 24 hours. So it is a pretty quick and fast moneymaker, and then you also get a bit of XP as well. I do recommend doing this method on World 2 at Burthorpe. You'll usually find quite a few other people around here, and you might find some other people using divine locations as well. And if you do have someone jump in, you will get some more resources, so that is pretty helpful. And so the next daily moneymaker is farm runs. And there are some requirements. It depends on what herb you are going to be farming. So I will show you that in the next slide. But recommended is the magic secateurs. They will allow you to harvest more herbs. Also the scroll of life, juju farming potions, green fingers aura, and the master farming outfit. These are all going to increase your output of herbs when you are doing these farm runs. You'll be getting around 2k to 30k XP per farm run depending on the herb, and it should only take you about 5 minutes, and you can also do it every 100 minutes. And this will make you right around 1 to 1.2 mil GP per instance, so per 5 minutes. You can see that it is a really excellent moneymaker. So there is a total of 7 herb patches. 3 of them are locked behind some requirements. But you do have the farm patch north of Port Sarum, the Port Phasmatus herb patch, the Catherby and Ardone herb patch, and those will be accessible to everyone. You'll also have the Troll Stronghold farm patch, which is locked behind My Big Arms Adventure, Prifdinus, which requires Plague's End, and then there is one in the Wilderness, but it can only grow Bloodweed. Now, as you can see in the chart here, I did list some of the better herbs to plant in terms of net profit. Now, I would recommend doing the spirit weeds as the best one just because the seeds cost so little and you are making about 14k profit per herb. So there isn't really any risk to this, especially if you don't have all of the boosts. To get the maximum herb output when you are harvesting, then the spirit weed is by far the best. So that's what I would recommend for most players right now. So basically you will want to be going to each of these herb patches and planting your herbs there, and then also harvest them after 100 minutes to make your profit. It is a pretty straightforward method. It does become a bit tedious, but it is an excellent daily moneymaker, or even a moneymaker you can do every hour and a half, basically, to make some nice extra cash. Now, the next method is making Bakriminel Bolts, and it does have some fairly high requirements in 85 woodcutting and 93 fletching. Now, you can do this for 12 minutes approximately, and you can do it every 24 hours. Recommended, you will want Nomad's Requiem completed, the Ritual of Maharet, the Branches of Darkmire, Plague's End, and 95 Dungeoneering. Now, you will be able to make right around 3 mil per instance while you are making Bakriminel Bolts. If you do the whole run, you will make a little bit more, and it will take a bit longer. So there are 8 different locations where you can chop down the bloodwood trees and then also make the Bakriminel Bolts. So first off, you will need to buy the Bakriminel Bolt tips from Mammy Rimba in the northwest area of Edgeville. You will be able to then go to each of these bloodwood trees and chop them down. You'll get basically bloodwood logs, which can then be fletched into Bakriminel Bolt shafts. Then you'll make the Bakriminel Bolts with the Bakriminel Bolt tips. Now, typically I only go to the 3 wilderness locations. You'll actually get more bloodwood logs on average from these locations because they are located in the wilderness. But if you do have the following requirements, then you can go to the other locations as well. So there is one at the Manor Farm. You will need 225,000 farming reputation. The Soul Wars Bloodwood Tree requires Nomad's Requiem. Ritual Plateau requires the Ritual of Maharet. The Bloodwood Tree in Darkmire requires the Branches of Darkmire quest. And the Goraja Resource Dungeon requires Plague's End and 95 Dungeoneering. Now, you can go to each of these trees. You will be able to chop them down for the bloodwood logs. Note that you cannot walk away from the trees before you fletch the logs, or else they will turn into dust. So you need to make the full Bakriminel Bolts at that tree before you leave. So for the next method, we have making potion flasks. Now there are some requirements, including 89 crafting, 81 mining, and as a first resort quest. Also recommended is the Resourceful Aura. If you have it, it will give you a 10% chance to give you an additional red sandstone, which will not contribute to your daily limit. Now you can do this method every 24 hours and it should only take around 7 minutes. You'll be making around 1.3 mil profit in those 7 minutes. So to make these potion flasks, you will want to start by mining the red sandstone just outside of Uglog, and you will be able to mine 50 of these per day. Now you can also mine an additional 25 from the Sophanum red sandstone, which is east of Sophanam or north of the Camel Warriors Island, after completion of the Elite Desert achievements. Now typically I only mine the red sandstone here at Uglog just because it is more simple and I don't have the Elite Desert achievements completed, but you will be able to make that 1 mil per hour-ish just by doing the Uglog location, especially if you have the Resourceful Aura. Now once you get a full inventory of the red sandstone, you'll want to go over to the Robust Glass machine, and here you'll make the Robust Glass. You can then craft it to make the potion flasks. You should be able to do about 2 inventories of this, and then you'll have to wait another day before you can do it again. Now, moving on to the next method, we have probably the most iconic daily moneymaker that I can think of, which is making Vis Wax. The only requirement is 50 rune crafting, so a pretty low requirement, and you can make 1 mil in just 2 minutes of work every day. Also recommended is the rune crafting cape with 99 rune crafting. This will help you get more Vis Wax every day, so if you do have that, it is quite helpful. So now I want to explain how the Rune Goldberg machine specifically works. So there is a maximum amount of Vis Wax you can obtain per day. This maximum amount is 100, and you will get 30 Vis Wax from the first slot, 30 from the second slot, and 40 from the third slot. Now also everyone has the same rune combination for the first slot in the Rune Goldberg machine. There are also some parentheses beside the rune in the first slot. These are basically the highest amount for cheaper runes, and I will show you this in a little bit when I go into my Discord server and show you how to actually figure out the combinations. But anyway, the second slot, it will have a possibility of being 3 different runes, and then the third slot, it is random for everyone, and it can be known using the rune crafting cape. So now I'm going to go into how to actually find this combination. So first off, if you are in my Discord server, you can just scroll down to the Vis Wax channel in the bots tab. So here you will see that there is going to be a combination posted each day. Today it is Cosmic Runes in slot number 1, and then we also have Air, Body, and Chaos in slot number 2. Now you will also notice that there are some parentheses here. So in slot number 1, Cosmic Runes, basically they will give you 30 Vis Wax. Now if you do put Water Runes in slot number 1, they'll give you 23 out of the 30. If you put Air, they'll give you 25 out of 30, and Law will give you 28 out of 30. So after you have checked the Rune Goldberg combinations through my Discord or through the forums, then you are now ready to make the Vis Wax. So if you do have the Wicked Hood, you can teleport straight to the top of the Wizard's Tower. If not, you'll just want to run there, just get to the top of the Wizard's Tower and enter the Rune Crafting Guild, which is the middle portal. Now, once you are here, you are going to notice the Rune Goldberg machine is just a little bit to the east. You can interact with it, and this is where you are going to be putting your runes in each slot. So as you guys can remember, slot number 1 was Cosmic Runes, and then slot number 2 was either Air, Chaos, or Body Runes. So I'm going to put Cosmic Runes in slot number 1, and we're going to try out Air Runes for slot number 2. Now, if you guys remember, for slot number 3, we can figure this out by using the Rune Crafting Cape. So as you can see, I activated the Rune Crafting Cape, and it is Mud Runes for slot number 3. If you guys don't have 99 Rune Crafting and don't have this cape, you won't be able to figure out the third slot, so you will just have to put a random rune in and just try your luck to get the most Vis Wax possible. So trying out these combinations, I'm going to put Cosmic, Air, and then Mud. So you can see we don't get the full 100 runes, so we know that the air rune is not the right one for slot number 2. Trying body, we know that that isn't right either, so it has to be chaos. Chaos has to be the rune where you get 30 Vis Wax. So you can see we're up to 100. We got each of the 3 combinations perfect. Now, say you didn't want to use cosmic runes in slot number 1, you could switch this out, for example, for air runes, and you'll get 25 out of the 30 for that slot. So in total, you will be getting 95 Vis Wax. If you wanted to switch out the chaos runes, you can see that earth and mind are in the parentheses after chaos. So you switched earth runes for that chaos rune slot. You'll be getting 28 runes for that slot. So in total, 98 out of the total 100. So that is basically how the Rune Goldberg machine works. As for slot number 3, though, it is a bit different. You will not be able to figure out what the extra runes are that give you a lot of Vis Wax in that slot. You only know the best rune. So, for example, if you wanted to switch out the mud rune in slot number 3, you won't be able to figure out what the other runes are. It is completely random. So even though it does take an earth and a water rune to make a mud rune, it doesn't mean that you are going to be getting a lot of Vis Wax from those specific runes. It is completely random as to how much Vis Wax you are going to be getting. But if you do get that 3rd slot right, you definitely want to keep it because you are going to be getting 40 Vis Wax out of that slot compared to 30 from each of the other 2 slots. And so next we have managing Miscellania. The only requirement for this is the Throne of Miscellania quest. And you can do this pretty fast. It only takes about 2 minutes, and you can do it every 24 hours. Also recommended is the Royal Trouble quest. It will enhance the profit you will be making from this. You'll be making around 3 mil per week if you just spend that 2 minutes every day. So in total, that's only 14 minutes per week, which isn't too long at all. And if you do calculate that into profit per hour, you are going to be making, effectively 12 to 13 mil profit per hour from this. Now, for the Managing Miscellania minigame, you will be allocating your people from Miscellania to do different tasks, and in turn, they will be generating you some resources. So right now, to get the maximum profit, you will want to maximize woodcutting and fishing. However, this does change, so you may want to check the wiki to see what is best at the specific time you are doing this. So to change the allocation, you can talk to Advisor Grim in Miscellania. As you can see, I want to maximize the wood and have half on fishing. You get the extra few people if you do complete that Royal Trouble quest. And here's what you can expect from loot just from a few months of doing this. As you can see, it's about 19 mil. So it is pretty easy to make quite a bit of money from this. And it is quite passive. You just need to keep up the approval rating and also make sure there is also a bit of money in the coffers. Now, as you can see, you will have an approval rating and it will decrease over time. So you will actually need to visit the city and make sure you perform some actions in the city to increase this approval rating. So that's what will be taking you the 2 minutes per day. You just need to come to Miscellania, which you can teleport using a Luck of the Dwarves ring, and just perform some actions. I highly recommend mining the coal since it is AFK. You don't get anything in your inventory and it doesn't deplete. So this is the fastest way to get your approval up, and it only takes a minute or two just to get it up. Especially if it is quite high, then it might even take less. So you'll just need to do that every day or every few days even. And then when you go to collect your loot, you will have quite a bit of loot accumulated for some pretty good profit. And so next we have the Alchemiser MK2. This is an invention machine that does require 108 invention. You can use the Alchemiser 1 as well. However, it is quite a bit worse. The Alchemiser MK2 does not need to use any fire runes, so you will be making much more off of your alks. Now, as you can see, I did list a table here of just some basic alks that you can put into the machine. Basically, the Alchemiser MK2 will process up to 25 items every hour, and you will make a bit of profit off of each of these alks, even if you do buy it from the Grand Exchange. So you'll just need to find some items that are profitable when you do alch them, and there are a ton of items that are profitable from alching, such as water battle staffs or dragonstone amulets, just things like that. And all you need to do is put them in your Alchemiser MK2 charged up with nature runes, and make sure you have charges in the machine, and then you'll be making profit just off of these alchs. Now, the next daily moneymaker is another invention machine, which is the Partial Potion Maker DX. It does require 114 invention, and it is actually quite passive. I did list that it will take you about 2 minutes every 24 hours, but you can actually fill up the machine to process for 13 days and 13 hours. That's basically 2 weeks of passive time that you will be making profit from this. So basically with the Partial Potion Maker, you will need to fill it up with the herb and the vial of water. So I did list some of the most profitable unfinished potions that you can make with this potion maker. And the top one right now being the Orgali Potion Unfinished. Of course, this one is a bit of a different herb, and it can be a bit illiquid at times. So I would probably base my profit off of the other one, since they are quite consistent. So for the Clean Avento, for example, the profit from the machine will be about 934 coins per potion, and it will process 40 of them per hour. Now, if you completely fill up this machine with 13,000 input items, you will be making that 934 profit per item, which actually ends up totaling about 12 million coins. So you can fill it up, and it will do this over 2 weeks' time nearly, and you will make 12 mil. So it is an exceptional money maker, and it is extremely passive. So if you do have the invention level, I would highly recommend doing this method. And so my next daily moneymaker is Reaper tasks, and a lot of you guys probably know this, but Reaper tasks are an exceptional daily moneymaker because the Reaper points are worth a ton. Right now, they're worth approximately 300k each, and you will be getting a minimum of 7 Reaper points up to 37 Reaper points per task. That's anywhere from 3 to 11 mil per task, and that's not even including the drops you will be getting from the bosses as well. So this is an exceptional moneymaker, and you guys should take advantage for most days at least. Now, of course, this does require you to be competent at most bosses, and it will take about 30 minutes of time every hour about. So there are some requirements to it, especially if you are looking to do various different bosses, but it can also be a lot of fun. You know, bossing is one of the most popular activities in the game, and if you're someone who hasn't even gotten into bossing yet, even trying out some lower level bosses like Archglacier in normal mode, or taking off some mechanics, it can be fun, and it will get you into a different aspect of the game if you haven't tried it already. Not only that, if you are doing these bosses on Reaper tasks, you are going to be making a ton of money on top of having that chance at a unique drop. Now, next we have selling player-owned farm dragons. Now, the requirements for this is upgrade your farm, so that does allow the animals to breed in the breeding pen, and also Kalia is highly recommended for at least part of this method. Now, Kalia will actually store the extra unchecked animals from the breeding pen that are breeded in that breeding pen, so this will allow you to just go check with Kalia whenever you feel like, and you'll have a bunch of unchecked dragons that you can then just go ahead and sell on the Grand Exchange. So I did list it so you only have to be active 2 minutes every month for this method to work out, and you'll just need to go ahead and collect your dragons from Kalia whenever you are ready. From this, you can then just go ahead and sell them on the Grand Exchange for roughly 2 mil profit. Now, I want you to note that there are some variations to this method. There is another method where you can raise the unchecked black dragons to adult black dragons, and then you can take them out and sell them to actual players in the player-owned farm. This is also a pretty good method as well, because people are buying adult black dragons. That way they can go ahead and just sell them for extra magical beans. So you can tweak this method a little bit to do that. If you decide to breed them into adult dragons, then you will be making a bit more profit per hour, but it will also be more frequent as well. And so those are all of the daily money making methods that I have for you guys in this video. I tried to add as many of the best ones that I could. If you guys have any questions at all regarding any of the methods that I showed in this video, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to help you guys out. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you did enjoy the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.